I thought a good win for our program in pretty hostile environment where a lot of our guys had a chance to go back home and compete. I thought that was very good for them and to do it in front of some of their friends and family and probably guys they played against in high school and grew up with. And it's just an added little bonus to the game overall when you're that close, in-state rivalry, etc. I thought our guys did a good job. We started fast. We hit a little lull in the middle there where we, 6 third downs we did not convert and were forced to punt 6 times. And then, we picked it back up again at the end. I thought right before, 3 minutes left before half, they put 10 points on the board. But to be able to survive that, the blocked punt, all the things that come with it and come out with the victory obviously speaks volumes of our resolve and just how tough our guys are and how willing they are to play together. This week, obviously a huge challenge coming up in another rivalry game with another team that's had a bye week right before it. And, we expect, them to throw everything at us as we would expect almost every single week, but just a little bit more in this game from what I understand. I have not been part of it, but and actually there's a lot of guys on our team that haven't yet been part of it, but we're all excited to get a chance to get down there and play.
How much do you think it could help you guys having back-to-back weeks with these hostile environments?
I mean, anytime you walk into there's an added bonus to it, that you walk in there and there's just energy in there. And I said it to our guys about the game we just played is that use it if you'd like to, but lose it otherwise. And I thought we did a nice job of not being, when you went in that huddle offensively and the lights were flashing and the noise was loud and the music was loud, it was a pretty cool thing if you wanted to use that to your advantage. If you didn't, just move on with your life. And I think they understand, that they don't have to have a reaction to every bit of emotion out there. But if it helps, use it. Otherwise, just move on. And I loved the way that they were in that huddle. Some of them liked it and we're using it to their advantage, and others just moved on and we're on to the next play. And I think that's important. But I think anytime you walk into the stadium, whether there's energy in it, you could feed off of that, good or bad. It's important.
Obviously, the Knight brothers put up some pretty gaudy numbers.
Yeah.
Pretty big quiet day for Amarion and Cam Ross in their stands. What are some things you guys think you could do better to get the guys on the outside involved a little bit earlier?
Yeah, well, I think in general, there were opportunities. We just didn't, it ended up the ball found, Ymir in the location he was at because of the, the coverage we were getting. So we're not picking favorites. It's just a matter of how does the route concept develop and what do they do on defense that enables Zoe to get the ball to where he's got to get it to the open receiver. You don't want to force things, that's for sure. But there are ways that we have to feed different players at different times, but that was not the game we were necessarily in, at that moment. We were running concepts against coverages, and what was open was open.
Talked about it a little bit after the game, but Alonzo has drawn people offsides a few times this year with this Cadence. What does that kind of add to the offense when you're in short?
Oh man, it's a huge thing. Go the other way with it, right? When we didn't do that before, when we were a little bit more timid or quiet in the Cadence front, and we were jumping off sides. I think understanding that Cadence is a weapon and should be used that way is really important. I mean, it's 5 yards. It's free 5 yards. There's not many plays in your playbook that you could guarantee 5 yards all the time. And this one, if they jump off sides, you're getting 5 yards. And I think not, us really locking in on it from the bye week through the next week and the next couple and then continue with it puts it as an emphasis. It's not something on the back burner that maybe we'll pull out once in a while. Just like trying to go fast with tempo. You want to go fast with tempo, you got to practice fast with tempo often. You want to try to draw people offside, you got to practice it a lot. And I think that's a really important part of us understanding that Cadence is a weapon. And as you saw, I think 2 or 3 first downs happened because of it on Saturday.
This program hasn't lost to a team in Virginia in over 9 years now. It's 20 straight wins. Obviously, you haven't been here for most of that, but to help
a lot of it, yeah.
to help extend it by that one game, how much have you noticed maybe that kind of dominance in Virginia kind of help in different areas, whether it's just in the season getting the win or maybe in recruiting and people being more aware in this area?
Well, I will say that going back when I first got here and bounced around, and I would ask someone, have you ever been to a game? And this was in high schools when I went and visited high schools in the spring. Have you ever been to a game at JMU? And I remember one place I went, and it was like an hour away from here. I'm not going to mention the school exactly, but when we went down there, it was like, hey, did you ever go to a game? And they're like, yeah, we go to the game. And then I started into my little talk, and another kid came in and asked, actually this was in the winter, and another guy asked, when he came in, did you ever go to a game? And he said the same thing, like, yeah, I've been, and the coach said, stop. Coach just stopped. Like, everybody goes to JMU games that lives around here. And I thought that was pretty impressive to me, is that, and then we went to other areas of Virginia. Everybody knew who we were. You get down to Florida, they knew who we were. That's all part of, just what has been built here. So I think those are things that certainly in Virginia, but it goes deeper than just Virginia. It doesn't just stop right here. And I think it's, obviously an impressive statistic. I did not know that going into the game. I don't think that would change any of our preparation or any of the way we are playing, because we're playing another team in Virginia. But at the same point in time, it's a pretty impressive stat.
Yeah, Monty Marshall for App State has been on quite a run after not getting used as much. He's at like 115 plus yards in 3 straight games. What are you going to do to try and stop him because he's been on a run?
I think you got to stop everybody on their team. I think, to me, it all starts with the quarterback. When you look at Joey and what he does back there, that's what you have to first pay attention to, is the way he gets the ball out, the way he, they scheme it up for him to be able to take deep shots downfield. I think he's an 83-yard, a 58-yard. Like, he's got a lot of big plays, and that is a big play threat. Then a lot of that starts with the run game, right? The ability to run the football and then be able to make it look like a run and max protect it to be able to shoot up top. And then you get to the outsides, and these receivers, there's 3 of them that are and they don't even have their best guy right now, but there are 3 of others that are unbelievable. Like, this is a very good football team, and I think you got to stop everybody. This is not a one-dimensional team. This isn't just they do one thing well. They do it all, but it definitely starts with Joey Aguilar at quarterback.
Have you seen their offense change much since they lost Caden Robinson? Or?
No, I just saw number 8 and number 15 step up in different ways. They're doing the same things. It's just that there's 2 guys that were just as capable, waiting for their opportunity, and their opportunity's been presented, and they're making the most of it.
What have you seen from them on the defensive side of the ball?
I've seen some really good defense. I think their defensive line does a really good job. They start in an odd front. They mix up a whole bunch of blitz game in there. And then I think on the back half, they're long. They're longer corners that can run and are physical when it comes downhill to tackling. So, again, just like everything, I think we said it before about the Georgia State team, that their record doesn't look like the film. And I think the same thing here. You can pull a ton of offensive plays and a ton of defensive plays that you look at and just say the personnel on this team is very, very good, and it's going to take our best.
I know for your defense, you and Lyle go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Just when you took this job, why did you want to bring him over? Why was that kind of like the perfect fit for bringing him over?
Because he's really good at his job. So I think it's but we have gone back a long time, and we stayed in touch for a very long time. And honestly, to me, as I looked at the way I was progressing in my career defensively, there's kind of a couple different schools of thought that you come from, and his is so different than from where I originate my thoughts from. And it's just really neat to watch, we get to a similar ending, but the way you get there is just so different. I've learned a ton, in this short period of time together, that we've been here together. He's phenomenal at what he does, and just, the guys absolutely love playing for him, and he just puts them in positions to be successful each and every week. So it's fun to be part of it. But yeah, he's really good at what he does, and I knew that, and that was a whole reason why, I wanted to join forces with him.
Obviously, you guys are going to focus on yourselves, but with Georgia Southern, losing that game, have you seen a little bit of
I like that you answer the questions. I like that you answer the questions yes, that is the answer. I mean, again, I don't, if you ask me what do they have to do if they lose one more, I don't have a clue. And honestly, I do not care right now. I care about what can we do today to make sure that we don't slip up anywhere down the line, that we prepare the best we possibly can and have the greatest day of the week that we possibly can have today. Because if we don't do that, then it's inevitable that we're going to drop something somewhere down the line here. We cannot do that. We have to have focus on one day at a time. We can only live in one moment at a time, and we have to make sure that we focus on that. We don't control any of that. All we control is what we have a chance to control, and I think it's really important that we focus on that.
Some of the returners that lost that tough App State game last year, have you seen, do you think this game means a little bit more for them if they get a win this week?
I honestly didn't ask him about it. Didn't ask him at all about it. And there's, that probably may come up in conversation, but, again, our focus has to be on just where we're at today and what we're trying to get better at. I don't know how you can, we can have conversations about it, but ultimately it's almost, their emotions are almost irrelevant to it, as far as preparation at this moment is concerned. You know, when we get to Saturday, maybe a little bit different, but I think right now I'm just really focused on trying to, you know, have the best day we can have.
You talked a little bit about the receivers that have stepped up. I think they're also expecting to get a couple of tight ends back that have been hurt. Like, does that, you know, how does that change what you think you might see from them, or how you kind of try to prepare for
I think it's just, I think that their personnel just continues to get better, right? I think in that moment, I think they're doing what they do on offense. I don't think the tight ends change a lot. I think they're physical. They play a physical brand of football, and they're just going to continue to do what they do. Now they just have more depth to execute it at. So I don't think there's, you know, they're not going to ask a tight end to run out and, you know, take you vertical all day, right? They're going to put him in the run game and the max protection game, probably have some screens in there and make sure you know, they're physical and they block and they do a good job. I expect guys to come back. We expect it every week, you know, especially after a bye week. You definitely do. We had our opportunities where our guys came back after a bye. I'm sure they'll have that same scenario.
And going back to, you know, talking about when you get here, you hit the road, you start meeting people.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's probably a percentage of the JMU fan base that might even say, like, this is the bigger rivalry this week than last week even.
Yeah.
Like, did you kind of get a sense of, like, what people think of App, like, you know, what people around here, like, think of this game and the growing rivalry between these programs?
Yeah, I do. And I think that, and again, we have Sam Daniels on staff here who's played in some of these games. And I think this is a significant rivalry for, I imagine, both teams. You know, again, I'm new to it, but at the same point in time, like I could feel it from Coach Matthews to fans to alums to Coach Daniels to a lot of different people have a lot of opinions about it. Again, it's ultimately irrelevant at this moment as we prepare for, you know, what we got to do on Saturday.